Welcome back to Slapsticks, presented by Forever Talking, Forever Unlikely. Joined back here with my co-host Nick Walk. Big week since last week. A lot of games, especially last night, the NHL Frozen Frenzy, where all 32 teams played. Some good games. I think they said 98 goals were scored last night, which is a lot. A couple high-scoring games. But to start off today with the St. Louis part of it, the Blues just got pretty bad news this morning as future captain Robert Thomas has a fractured ankle and will be reevaluated in 6 weeks. So Blues without arguably their MVP until December. So that's going to suck. We'll see. There's rumors they might call up Dvorsky, but having Schenn and Buchnevich down the middle as your 1-2 centers for the next 6 weeks does not sound very promising. Tough loss last night, but they played really well against the undefeated Winnipeg Jets. They lost 3-2. Both goalies looked great, and they outshot an undefeated team. So pretty good game. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that was good. Since we had our last episode, I mentioned I wouldn't be surprised to see us lose all 3 games against the Islanders, Hurricanes, and Jets. We only lost last night against the Jets, so we beat the Islanders 1-0. We beat the Canes 4-3. Those were both very good games. The 1-0 overtime win is a very boring game, but hey, a win's a win. So we'll take it. The Blues later this week will go on their Eastern Canadian road trip. They will play, before next episode, they will play in Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. And then they contribute the road trip in Philly to close out October, and then they're back home against the Blue Jackets. They're back home against Toronto on November 2nd. But yeah, good week for the Blues. We're 4-3 on the year. But honestly, in all but one of our 3 losses, we've looked really good, and they've been against good teams. So we'll take it. Don't have much to say about the Blues, really, other than the Robert Thomas injury. That really sucks. Both the Blues goalies have looked fantastic this year, but just got some offensive things to figure out. I think we're struggling to score right now. The defense looks solid, especially being without a few key pieces. But yeah. Get on to the standings here, as they have changed a little bit, and we'll go through quick so that.
Oh, did you see that one fight? I don't know who it was between, but it was actually a good one.
Was it last night?
Yeah, I didn't watch all of them because there
Capitals
were
and
so
Flyers.
many. Yeah,
it was like a 2-minute long fight too, which is fucking long.
Halfway through, the refs were like to step in, like, no, they're still going.
Yeah. I love they just smile and like each other on the back at the end of it.
Yeah,
too.
at the end of the fight,
beat the shit out of each other. They were both bleeding too. Yeah, that was Delorier and McElrath. That was a good fight.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all the recaps either. I just watched the video of like the goals that were scored. It was like 5 minutes long, but I was not about to watch 16 10-minute recaps. Yeah. I cap it at about 12. Tonight is the Flyers are in Washington, so they play a home and home. So there might be a couple fights in that game. Some Eastern Conference divisional rivals, and they had a few fights in a good game last night in Philly. So should be a good game. It just sucks that it's the only one. But when everyone just played last night, I guess one's good enough. And then I think Thursday there's 11. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing with the schedule, but the only time all 32 teams play this year.
Stupid.
I agree. Yeah, games tomorrow. Don't understand. Anyways, going through the standings, we will start at 32. The only team without a win, and that is the 0-5-2 San Jose Sharks. We talked a little bit about it last time. Without Celebrini, I know he's an 18-year-old rookie that's only played 1 game, but I think he is already the heart and soul of that hockey team, and without him, they just look horrible.
They don't care.
No, they're honestly getting good goaltending. Their power play is terrible. I think they have 2 power play goals in 24 chances in 7 games, so that's just horrendous. Yeah, it's not looking great for the Sharks. Looking like potentially another lottery pick this year, but we'll see next week when they're at about the 10-11 game mark. Maybe they have a few wins under their belt 4 games from now, but I seriously doubt it. Celebrini's out another 2 weeks, so this is a team that might go into early November still looking for its first win. So, not great. Moving up to 31, also a team that finally found their first win on the season. The 1-5 Nashville Predators. They shut out the Boston Bruins last night. So that was a good game. Finally got some pieces to click. Not just saying that because they won, but they looked pretty good chemistry-wise last night, a 4-0 win. So, yeah, they'll get hot. The stats floating around that no team has ever made the playoffs after starting 0-5. So that doesn't look good for Nashville, but they're definitely a playoff team. So I think they'll get there. 31. Number 30, the 1-4-1 Philadelphia Flyers. They look pretty bad right now. They won their first game. That was it. 0-2 on the homestand to start the year.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, fun to watch, I won't lie, but just not going for them. We're only 6 games in for them, so they have plenty of time to get better, obviously, but yeah, looking great so far. Moving up to 29, the slightly improving 2-4-1 Edmonton Oilers. They choked a 2-0 lead in the third period last night to the Carolina Hurricanes. They lost 3-2 in overtime.
Damn.
Carolina's a good team, so it doesn't hurt as bad. But yeah, one that you got to hunker down and pull out a win there. I know you're only up 2-0, but you can't afford to let your foot off the gas, especially against a potential powerhouse in Carolina. McDavid had the only 2 goals for them last night. The top line looked good, but other than that, everything else is struggling there. So moving up, the also 2-4-1 Montreal Canadiens. I would say one of the most fun teams to watch so far this year. I know their record doesn't show it.
I was going to say, that's my team. I like watching them.
Yeah, the young kids just get out there and roll with it.
He played like minutes the one game. He's so good.
Yeah, just fucking head fakes, though. Kid's so annoying to watch. He's a rookie, too. He's only played they played 7 games, so I think he played 1 game last year. Yeah, he played 1 game last year, so he's 8 games into his career. He's a good skater. He's fun to watch. He always has his head up too, dude. He just weaves in and out of people. That's hard I think he's 20 years old. That's hard for a 20-year-old defenseman to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a bright future. Don't think it's so much he's playing bad. It's the team around him, but he in 7 games, I think he's a -12. So that's kind of brutal.
That's a dumb stat, though.
I agree. It's overrated for hockey for sure. Yeah, that team, though, they're letting the kids get out there and just have a good time. They've put a couple wins together. You lose at home last night to the Rangers 7-2, but I mean, the Rangers, so
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fun to watch. I agree with you. Moving up to 27, 2-4-1 as well, the Chicago Blackhawks. They have kind of off on this homestand. Not a whole lot to say about Chicago. They're getting good goaltending, just can't put the puck in the net as often as they want to.
They're not good.
Connor Bedard looks good, but he's not showing up on the stat sheet. You start to wonder if year 2, a lot of the league has a playbook on this kid now, so they know how to shut him down. He's a good enough player to overcome that, but it's going to take him some time. So we'll see if him and the Blackhawks can pull out of it. Moving up to 26, the 3-4 Colorado Avalanche. After starting 0-4, they have benefited greatly from an easy schedule all of a sudden.
Goalie sucks.
Yeah, terrible. Easy schedule. I know I just mentioned it. That's not to say they're not playing well, but out of their 7 games, they have beaten the Sharks, Ducks, and Kraken. So the only team of note there is the Kraken. Sharks and Ducks are horrible. Kraken are middling, so they really haven't beat contending team yet. Moving up to 25, the 2-2-2 New York Islanders. I mentioned last week that they have looked like a different team in all 3 games they had played so far, and now 6 games in, that holds true. The Islanders, they play their classic shutdown, low-scoring game.
They're boring to watch.
They have been since the 80s. They just play that kind of trap game. If you think about, it doesn't work that way in hockey, but Nick, if you think about when we used to play soccer, the teams that would just shorten their D line so you're offsides every fucking pass you make, that's the type of hockey the Islanders play. It's boring and it's frustrating, and they win games 2-1. They've lost their last 2 games 1-0 though. So yeah, kind of weird. They lose 1-0 to the Blues in overtime. They lose 1-0 in regulation at home to the Red Wings last night, but yeah, the coaching staff and the talent to get there. I do think they're a playoff team, but yeah, just haven't looked consistent in any of their games so far this year. Moving up to 24, the aforementioned Detroit Red Wings, who are now 3-3. They're kind of away here and there. Moving up to 23, the 3-3 Columbus Blue Jackets. We've talked a lot about them on this so far. Hockey's secondary. They do suck, but their last 2 games, they've been fun to watch. They beat the Toronto Maple Leafs at home last night. Toronto coming off a back-to-back, so I don't put too much of that on Toronto, but yeah, lose 2 to Columbus, it's not great. But we'll see what they can do because they're fun to watch. 22nd place, the 3-2 Carolina Hurricanes. I mentioned they pull off that come from behind overtime victory in Edmonton last night. That's a big feat as they start their Western road swing. The loss to the Blues, while we are Blues fans, I could say they looked pretty good. Just couldn't that tying goal at the end there. They have time to figure it out. They're still shaking the rust off, so we'll see what they can do. Moving up to 21st, the 3-4-1 Pittsburgh Penguins. They lose in a shootout to Calgary last night. They've looked kind of okay here and there, but again, I don't think they're all that. I think they're going to fall off here real soon, so we'll see if that prediction comes true, but I expect them to drop in the standings over the next few weeks. Moving up to 20, the 3-4-1 Buffalo Sabres, who look middling like a few other teams. They do, but
they have one player.
They do, but they should have shut out the Dallas Stars last night. They still end up winning 4-2, but they were up 3-0 for 45 minutes in that game before the Stars scored 2 with the goalie pulled. Couldn't get that third one, but they held on to beat potential Stanley Cup champion Dallas Stars this year. Yeah, I have them in the final, so that's good for them. And if not the 2 points, still for team morale, beating a team like Dallas is really good for Buffalo. Moving up to 19, the 3-3-1 Boston Bruins. They're starting to slide a little bit, and I love to see it. The goaltending looks good. Not much else looks good. They don't have a lot of chemistry. They're taking a lot of penalties. They lose to Utah on the road. They lose to Nashville on the road last night. Not much to say about Boston other than I hope we can find them next to Pittsburgh down in the bottom 6 spots in the next couple weeks. That would make me very happy. Moving up to 18, the Anaheim Ducks, who are 3-2-1. They, despite having a winning record, don't look great other than their uniforms, which I think I've mentioned every single episode now. Uniforms look great. The team does not. But, yeah, number 17, the 4-3 Seattle Kraken. They look like the Seattle we saw last year, which was not very good, but they're going to steal some games. They're going to break some hearts. We'll see what they can do this year. I like their makeup, but they get some wins here. The also 4-3 hometown team, St. Louis Blues. Again, despite being 4-3, I think we've played very well this year. We'll see now with the loss of Robert Thomas for the next 6 weeks. We'll see if we slide a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we do. But overall, the teams look good. There's a lot of things to be happy and hopeful about. So we'll see what we can do in the next couple weeks here. Moving up to 15, the 3-2-2 Los Angeles Kings. They have been struggling at the back half of this road trip. Starting with 7 games on the road is never easy. They're a team that has not played a home game yet. Yeah. So they'll at home against San Jose, I believe, on Thursdays. I think their first game was in, I can't even remember. Was it Boston or Columbus? I don't know. But starting from LA, having to go all the way out there to start the season for 7 games is tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what they can do. 3-2-2. Again, I'm not going to rank them too hard. That's a tough road trip. And coming out with, I guess, 8 of a possible 14 points is not great, but it's not terrible. So I'm not going to hold it against them. We'll see what they do at home. Moving up to 14, the 4-3 Toronto Maple Leafs. They started the season slow, but now they're looking pretty good. Starting to get goal scoring from their new captain, Austin Matthews, who's projected to score close to 70 this year. So we'll see what he could do. But yeah, they're getting goaltending. Defense is actually good, and they're showing some heart, which I knew was going to happen under former Blues Cup champion coach Craig Berube. But yeah, there's heart that they haven't had in the past few years under previous coaches. So that's got to be an exciting thing if you're a Leafs fan. Moving up, the 3-1-2 Vancouver Canucks. I think they're benefiting being that high from not playing as many games as some of the other teams. But they started slow. They're also starting to look good now. They Florida Panthers to overtime and beat them. They've looked good. So big win in Philly the other night. Last night they won in Chicago. So tough road trip. I think now they go back home. So yeah, we'll see what they can do, but they're looking good. Moving up to 12. I'll get through here. We're 2/3 of the way through. Moving up to 12, the surprising 4-2 Ottawa Senators. They score four first period goals on the road in Utah last night and hold that new franchise scoreless for the first time in their history as they win 4-0. 4 first period goals made for a boring last 40 minutes, but they hunkered down, played solid defense, and they come out with a big win on their first road game of the year. So it's pretty big for them. Moving up to 11, the 4-2 Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm pretty low with expectations on this team, but 8-5 win against New Jersey last night's pretty damn good. One of the goals was a fluke. Yeah, he's nuts. Shit. Yeah, he's got
like shots every game.
Yeah, that's why he leads league in goals right now. I think he has 7 or 8 right now, which 8 goals in 6 games is crazy. I promise he won't keep that pace, but he's probably good for between 40 and 50 this year. So he's oh yeah. Moving up to 10th, the somewhat surprising 4-1 Washington Capitals. Ovechkin looks like his gray hair is showing. He has 2 goals this year in 5 games. I mean, I guess pace for what we expected of him. But the team all around looks fantastic. They're getting goals from their defense.
Tom Wilson, is that his name?
Yeah, Tom Wilson's got 4 or 5 already, which is really good to see. He was coming off ACL surgery last season, so probably why he had a slow year, but he looks like the Tom Wilson from 3 years ago right now, and that's got to be promising if you're a Caps fan. Moving up to 9th, the defending champion Florida Panthers, who are 4-3-1. They've been without their captain for 6 of the 8 games now. Matthew Tkachuk came back last night and had an assist, but they lose 5-1 to the Minnesota Wild, which is not great, especially at home. But they look fine. I think they're reveling. They're showing the league their rings right now, so they probably don't care too much about their record. They're pretty much a lock for the playoffs, so they just need to get there. They probably don't care too much.
Yeah.
Moving up to the 4-2-1 Utah Hockey Club. Despite the 4-0 loss at home against Ottawa last night, they look very good this year, as we mentioned last week. They're at home for a few games this week, so get some more home games under their belt, kind of build off the energy from a crowd that cares about their hockey team finally. It's got to feel good for those players, and hopefully they can take that and get some more wins out of it. They're a lot of fun to watch this year. Moving up to 7th, the 4-2-1 Vegas Golden Knights. They've kind of started to slow down. However, they go back home and beat the Kings 6-1 last night. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games, but they had a tough road swing. They played in Tampa, Florida, and Washington, and they lost all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
But like a tough Eastern swing for a Western team, and they're back home now winning games. So I think they'll be fine. Just they got to get some stuff going too, and we'll see what they're capable of. Moving up to 6th, the 5-2 Dallas Stars. Tough loss in Buffalo last night. But Dallas looks fantastic so far, and I expect them to keep it rolling. Hopefully that loss last night was just one and done, and they can
you don't
but
so why'd you hopefully?
Because I think they deserve to keep going.
But you
I don't, but hockey's sake, they deserve it. That team's been good for a long time with nothing to show for it, so I picked them to make the final this year. I don't like them, but they should be there. Moving up to 5th, the surprising 4-0-2 Minnesota, one of only 4 teams who do not have a regulation loss yet this year. They've looked really good. We mentioned the goalie goal last week. He has not scored again since then. I don't think he will, but I thought I should just throw that out there. They've played against some tough teams as well. So yeah, hopefully Minnesota can get going. I think they have a long homestand coming up, so that should bode well for them. Number 4, the somewhat sliding now 5-3-1 New Jersey Devils. They continue to look strong. They've just been on the wrong end of some unfortunate bounces. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, look up that 8th goal that Tampa Bay scored last night. It's kind of bullshit.
I didn't watch it, but I had it in the background. And I heard it.
Yeah, so the puck, they're trying to dump it in, and the goalie, Jake Allen, former Blues goalie, he went around to play the puck, and by the time he turned around, it was in the net because it hit part of the glass and just shot into the net. Now, the Devils only scored 5. Most of the time you score 5, you win. So, obviously, the defense
They started off 2-0, right?
They were up in that game. But
it might have been 1-0. I don't remember. I know Timo Meier scored, I think, 2.
Yeah. But yeah, fun. They still look fine. Just like I said, some unfortunate bounces. And they're about to go on the road for a majority of this week. I think getting out there on the road usually is good for a team when they're starting to struggle at home. So moving up to third, the also undefeated in regulation 5-0-1 Calgary Flames, who still continue to surprise everybody. But they look good. They beat a decent Pittsburgh team at home last night wearing their black uniforms, which very nice. Up to second place, the 5-0-1 New York Rangers still look fantastic. Not too much to say other than whatever Igor Shesterkin wants salary-wise, you better fucking give it to him because he's still not signed for next year. I know the report is they offered him 11 and he turned it down. If he wants 12.5, give him 12.5 because he is worth every penny. I promise. Nick smiles in basketball salaries because that's probably what like Austin Rivers makes a year.
He makes way more. Austin Reeves, 20.
And then moving up to the first spot, the last remaining undefeated team. One might say they are Canada's team, the 6-0 Winnipeg Jets. They beat the Blues last night. I mentioned the Blues played well, but from a Jets point of view of that, just there's no gaps in their game right now. They're shutting everybody down and they're putting the puck in the net when they need to. So they're a lot of fun to watch. I hate that they're in the Blues division, but they're fun to root for right now. I think they're going to surprise if they can keep it up. I don't expect them to stay undefeated. If we get to 10 games and 10-0, I'd be very surprised, but they're playing really good hockey right now, and I think they'll continue to do so. That is your standings for this week. I mentioned the Blues embark on their Eastern Canada road trip, so we will see how they fare without Robert Thomas in those games. And yeah, we'll have more for you.
Did you beat Ian in hockey?
I did. I'm 2-0.
Now we play. I'm 0-2. My team.
You're up on me this week, but
I actually did quick lineups. I don't know if that helped.
Yeah, I did that for every day, just in case. I
realized.
Yeah, you're up.
Well, he told me I could do that.
Yeah, you're up 15.1 on me right now. I mean, it's a long week. There's one game, 16 games, and then one game. That doesn't help me get my score up, considering actually neither of us have anyone that plays tonight. Oh, you do. You have Konechny. He's in. We'll see. Maybe I can make up some points tomorrow, but that's all for this week. I'm going to take a shit and a nap, and I'm going to try and upload this as soon as it finishes.
Swipe it to the left.
Converting. I did good last week.
Yeah, you did.
Anyways, that's all. We'll talk to you folks next week.